Hey, all 7 of my people who watch this. I'm just bored and waiting for a ride for a barbecue for Independence Day and stuff, and I wanted to talk really quickly about what's becoming one of my favorite plants here. Get a little bit closer. This is called turkey tangle frog fruit, Phyla nodiflora. It used to be called, I believe, Lipia nodiflora, but it's commonly known as Lipia or turkey tangle. It is in a genus of plants called frog fruits. I think I got that right. Yeah. But you know something really remarkable? Yeah, I'm recording on my phone. Sorry for the headache. What's really remarkable is I haven't watered this in like 2 years and hasn't really had access to water for all that time. It was planted in a shallow stream bed in a just a little water feature. A willow popped up that I unsuccessfully killed. I kind of liked it, and when I realized it was going to be a problem, it was too late. Choked out the motor. Can't get to the motor, so it's dead. But this came back. It's in the baking sun for about 10 hours a day. And this is an extremely effective spreading ground cover. Get a close up here. You can see how it trails along the ground. I could be wrong, but it looks like this thing spreads by stolons as well as rhizomes. And the stolons spread a very dense foliage. This is an example of it covering a rock, trying to get some purchase. But it didn't give up. Move down here. It's finally hit dirt. Not satisfied with that. It's even growing onto the driveway over here. It hasn't noticed yet because it's on a bed of pine needles. I'm debating whether to train it to go along the driveway instead of onto it. But for now, it's just really happy. These tiny white flowers, which resemble clovers, are actually the shape of verbenas like lantana, which is pretty popular out here. But instead, it grows completely flat, or as close to it as possible. And bees love it. I mean, I can't say enough good about this. As an experiment, I managed to get a really horrible ground cover replaced with this stuff, and it filled out quickly during summer, which is an amazing feat for what is essentially a California native. And with all that blooming, the smell it put off was lovely. It's rather unfortunate people can be allergic to pollen, but this flower's aroma is quite something. And among all this dead, yeah, there's the dead stream bed where I planted it while there was water in it. Water went away. This thing peeked out, took root outside of this thick rubber liner, and it's doing awesome. That's all I can say about it, really. It seems heavily adaptable, grows in shade, grows in full sun, apparently. I did establish it in the water, so it's possible that it lived off of that stored nutrients until it took root outside. But I've tried it in an aquatic environment, which is actually the worst way to grow it. It seemed very unhappy with me that way. But it survived. So, soggy soil, not so much. But as long as you have good drainage, I could imagine this taking over a decent-sized lot in Washington within 5 months planting, I bet. It does well out here. I am in, well, somewhere between coastal and interior sage scrub. I live in the shadow of the Santa Monica Mountains, which creates a very extremely dry environment. We get a fraction of the rain of the neighboring Oxnard Plateau. And Oxnard is one of those famous points where agriculture does really well. At least in this county and the neighboring ones, Oxnard strawberries are considered the best. But boy, is that a can of worms I don't want to talk about. I've had marginal success growing my own vegetables, but there's a lot of experiments of mine that have failed horribly. This is not one of them. I'm really impressed with this plant. I intend to spread it into my vegetable garden at the same time as start growing tomatoes, so I can pair them. One attracts the bees and the other needs to be pollinated in order to produce plentiful fruit. So I figure it's win-win. It is a very, very low burden on nutrients in the soil. This is native soil here. This is our hard adobe clay based on serpentine, which is notorious for its low mineral and nutritional content, which is why my previous attempts at growing vegetables was so horrible. Not sure how I missed that detail. But I made a special bed treated heavily with nitrogen, and actually what I do is I sweep the atmospheric dust that piles up, and I put that in the soil as well. So it is really, really rich. I've tried tentatively planting some natives in it and trying to keep the heaviest of the nitrogen away from them, and they haven't really shown a lot of sickness yet. They just got beat up by pumpkins, which is unrelated. So hopefully next year I can get an even more productive garden thanks to the help of Phyla nodiflora. I think I've rambled long enough. I really don't want to stretch this to 10 minutes, so I'll just leave it here. I'm still alive, people.